Welcome to another edition of Guns 101, our welcome message for new gun owners brought to you by the Self-Defense Radio Network. I'm Rob Morse from Self-Defense Gun Stories. My partner that you can see is Amanda Suffolk from Eye on the Target Radio. My other partner, you can't see him because he's working behind the camera, that's Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. We're joined again by Tom and Diane Walls from the Firearms Academy of Seattle. They have decades of experience. Look, people went to a gun store. They may have bought the perfect gun for them. They may have bought something that doesn't fit them. And sometimes the store clerk said, "Here, little lady, you just take a revolver." Diane, Tom, that could be a perfect fit or a bad fit. Tell us what it means when someone said, "Oh, I got a revolver." Tell me about that.
Okay, we're going to go over the anatomy of the revolver today. These are real guns and they have been unloaded and verified. I will verify this one and you can verify that one. And they're pointed in the safe direction. We've got two different models of guns here made by two popular gun manufacturers. This particular one in my hand is a Colt, and then there's a little bit of difference between the operations of the two.
I've got one of Diane's Smith & Wesson revolvers in stainless steel. We've got bits of tape added to the cylinders so you can see some of the subtle differences between them.
Okay, and front to back, we're going to point out the parts here. We've got the muzzle end of the barrel here, the end where the bullet comes out, the front sight. This is the barrel here, and this is the rear sight. This round part is the cylinder. And all of the chambers inside, there's multiple chambers. You can see there's 6 chambers in this gun. There's other sizes for other people. And here's the trigger guard. Here's the trigger. This part is the hammer. This is what comes back and then goes forward to strike the firing pin and fire the gun in like that. Okay, these are the grips here. It's the front strap of the grip, the back strap of the grip, and these are interchangeable. This is one of the most customizable parts of the revolver is the grips. You can get all kinds of grips to match your hand size and your preference for recoil control. These can be swapped out any number of ways.
Now, this is one of Diane's collectibles from her half of the safe. And these grips, some people will call them stocks, don't fit her hand very well. This is also one of her guns from her side of the safe. She has changed the grips on this to fit her hand better. This is one of the simplest things you can do to get a better gun-hand interface with a pistol.
Yes.
You'll notice occasionally we'll be just, without thinking about it, popping the cylinder open. That's analogous to deactivating a gun is to racking the slide back in the semi. So.
Okay, this little part here, you're going to see, this is one of the differences between these two models. This is the cylinder release, and this one on the Colt pistol pulls back, and then the cylinder swings out.
That's one system. The Smith & Wesson, which also is a fine manufacturer of revolvers, it's a different shape, and I'm going to do this in an awkward way so you can see it, pushes forward so that the cylinder, I can do this with a thumb better, so that the cylinder comes out by pushing forward.
So one moves back, one moves forward, some move up, some move down.
Mm-hmm. And they're usually in the right-handed placement, somewhere in the area that these are. Sometimes it'll be up higher than it, and sometimes it'll be where that is. They're very right-handed. So if you're
under your thumb if you're right-handed.
Under my thumb if I'm right-handed. Now, you can manipulate all the manipulations with a revolver in a left-handed shooting position. That takes some professional instruction. It's pretty slick, but it's a hands-on instructional block.
Okay, a little more detail on the cylinder here. You see this rod sticking out. This is the ejector rod, and it pushes out a little device called the ejector star, which is fitted under the rim of the cartridge, and it will push the cartridges out. You can see a little ratchet in the center of that. You
see that here.
So there you go. And go slow, Tom, so they can see that move.
Oh, you're going to get me to use 2 hands. Okay, I can push
Yeah, kind of sideways there. There you go.
Okay.
Now that shows well. Yep.
And then, yeah, I'm trying to look at this. They're not pointed at me, even though I know it's unloaded.
Right.
There we go.
Okay, so that is the how you get the shells out of the cylinder, and then there's a bunch of mechanisms inside that we're not going to go into detail here.
Oh, will you tell me how I know the gun's unloaded?
When the cylinder's swung out like this, the gun is inoperable, and you can look in the chambers. There's a bunch of chambers there, and you should see that the gun has no shiny things in the chambers.
So when I'm checking a revolver, okay, I've got the gun pointed in a safe direction. Okay, I know where the cats are. If this thing were to go off, it wouldn't do any damage except to my ego and a log. Okay, open it up. And I visually check. I check by sight. And I take my time doing it. Yep, they're empty. I'll remove that around. I'll check by feel. Okay, in a dark room, that does make a difference. And then if there's somebody else in the room, I'll have her do the same thing.
Right.
Even when we're not on camera.
And when you're on the range in a class, we usually have you leave the cylinder open and lay it down so that the instructor can look in there and see that indeed that gun is unloaded. So that's how you check to see if your revolver is unloaded. Okay. We're going to show another difference in these guns. This gun has some tape on it.
It will come off. It will not damage that nice, pretty old.
You can see that when I pull the trigger, this gun rotates. And from my point of view, it's rotating clockwise.
Okay, but if you look at this one, see the dark tape I have in this, it's going the other way. I'm not pointing it at Diane. It's about 2 feet in front of her.
Okay, and can you show him the little trick with the notches?
Okay, there's a reason for this, so bear with me. If you can see,
back up just a little bit.
There we go. It's hard because I've got like a 1-inch square. There's a little notch in here.
Yep.
Okay, that locks into a device called the locking bolt to keep the cylinder from turning when the gun's being fired. Okay, and then it helps. It moves out of the way. It unlocks, and the thing turns. There's a little itty bitty teeny, almost like an arrow shape pointed this way, that tells me which way the cylinder turns, as we just demonstrated. Now, it might seem like, who gives a rat's butt? However, although you don't need to be a mechanic to know how your car works, like some people have recently discovered, it's nice to have a basic concept of how it works to manipulate your gun. There are times on the range, and there may be times in self-defense, where it's nice to know which way the cylinder is going to turn. Know the gun, easier to use, it's a lot more fun to do.
Yeah, we tell our students, if you only have one bullet, you want to know where to put it. Do you put it at 11 o'clock or at 1 o'clock for that gun? Mm-hmm.
And I did mention that this was a double action revolver. You can see that the trigger has 2 jobs. Its job is to pull the hammer back, release the hammer forward into the firing pin. That's double action. This can also be fired in the single action mode, and you can see now that the trigger is back quite a ways in the trigger guard here, and the hammer's back. And this is a very light, maybe 3 pound at the most, trigger press to get that. We don't recommend that you fire a double action revolver in the single action mode unless you're taking a precision shot.
The amount of mechanical energy to get the thing to do 2 actions, the double action, and I'm going to do this with my thumb in a very awkward way, to rotate this very heavy steel hammer and cylinder, and then compress all the springs inside and then release it. That can be anywhere from, in your experience, what, 8, 10, 12 pounds?
A well-tuned one is about 10 pounds, and then most of them run 13 to 15 pounds stock.
When I cock the trigger back, I've compressed that spring, and all I have to do mechanically is
release
the trigger. So that's where the term double and single action.
So, well, thank you so much for the anatomy of a revolver. So, folks, if you want more information from Tom and Diane Walls, go to their website, firearmsacademy.com, or check out the other videos that they have done in the Guns 101 video series. But you'll see more of these too, all over the place.